Good win. Had a good start to the week. So traveling to UMass. So what you got? Defensively, they really, just played very, very well. Flew to the ball, good attack. Really did a good job on third down stops. Just really harassed. Didn't get the running game going. Got them one-dimensional. Got them third and long. Just kind of rattled them. Same time, defensively, UMass played pretty solid defense. They only gave up 2 touchdowns. Scored on their defense for 37 points. There's 2 other touchdowns that came when the defense went on the field, and they held them to some field goals, and they held them to some field goals after 2 long punt returns. So I thought their defense, played well, but their offense struggled. But that just UConn just played salty, played hard, played really well. It was impressive. I don't know. We haven't studied UConn. I don't know if they're extremely. Not sliding them. I haven't looked at those guys, but they really did very, very well against them. I don't know if that means what our guys will do. We got a lot of work to do.
I know the guard positions are somewhat interchangeable, but we saw Feeney during camp play at left guard a lot. He ended up playing a lot of right guard against ISU. What was the reason, kind of?
A little bit of trying to find the right combinations, but also 2 young freshmen playing side by side, where you got Bernard Taylor right there beside Jason with communication. You've got Maddie. And Peyton Eckert stuck between Dan Feeney. So instead of just putting 2 young guys out there on an island just to try to clean it up. But, bottom line, we're either man and sliding protection. So you either got your guy or building a wall. So it's just flipped, or either you're pulling right or pulling left on power, and everything else is kind of zone blocking. So it's not as hard to interchange that position if a kid can think schematically, big picture. So Dan handled it pretty well. I thought he had a solid game for a first start.
Win with a long touchdown on a kickoff last year. He has a long play for a touchdown on a pass reception this year. With his speed, how much of an opportunity does he have to be a big part of the passing game this year?
Well, I think he's going to – that's a great question. I think, potentially he really should and needs to have a big year for us. I think he should have a fair amount of touches, and I think there were some opportunities the other day where we, in progressions, maybe should have got to him. Because I think he matched up on safeties, and man-to-man coverage is one of the bigger mismatches. If you ever catch him on a linebacker, it's a real big hill. He's going to struggle sometimes blocking. So, there's 2 different thoughts with the slot player. You get a smaller guy, and he's going to struggle physically in some of the matchups. But then he's going to be so much quicker that there's some advantages. So it's give or take. He does, though, for a little guy, play with a little substance. He plays, he came back, had a nice crack on one of their big guys, and he's not afraid, and he does play fast. He's been our one, if not the best practice player from the offensive side all camp. And I really think hopefully he'll have it's nice he can make some big plays, but I really think he'll hopefully just have a consistently really good year. I think he can. I think we need him to.
Do you feel the offensive line held up with that up-tempo that you guys were really going at a decent speed? How do you think guys held up, especially into the second half?
Well, physically, I think as far as holding up conditioning-wise, really good. I don't think, I think we're in reasonably a well-conditioned team. I think we've worked hard, and it's a credit to Coach Hill, and it's a credit to his staff, but it's also a credit to, we had 110 kids here all summer. Had every kid here, and, those guys, it's voluntary, but from what I gathered, I think they were there every day, every kid, and they were holding each other accountable, and that's voluntary work. But I think the players, we try to put some leadership on a bunch of guys, and I think they kind of really held guys to come there. So conditioning's pretty good. Now, you get going fast, sometimes you get a little frantic, and you go the wrong way once in a while, or you get a glitch, or you flinch in your stance. So it's just settling down. It's learning how to, in the basketball, if you're listening to Coach Wooden, he talked about, play quick but don't be in a hurry. Play fast but don't rush. So there's some times where you got to learn how to, as quick as you're going, how to still stay in control as we play.
It's kind of tailed back by committee, out there a little bit, especially the first half you used 3 a lot. How did that work? Positives, negatives you see from that?
Okay. Coach McCullough kind of manages them. We don't think, okay, one guy's in, don't do these plays or feature these plays. They kind of all, if it's pass protection, they got to pick it up. If it's a route, they got to run it. if we go two tailbacks, there's certain jobs they do when we get to two tailbacks, but we're in a normal one back or an I formation set. If we're running power or counter or a belly play or a stretch play, they all run it. So we don't really change the play call. I did think the other night we were a little conservative, trying to protect the young linemen with the combination of guys. And, one time at night you look out there on tape and there was 3 freshmen and 6 sophomores, and they were true sophomores. So, I mean, you're young, and when you're calling plays, my original boss would say, quit thinking about who's playing and just call the play, because you will talk yourself out of every call. And so you just got to call it. But I think, in the second half, and I don't want to say we got conservative, but we had a chance maybe to take some, to just be a little bit more aggressive in our thought process, where I think we ran into some loaded boxes. I kept telling the quarterback sometimes, it's a little bit of our fault. And at the same time, I think we were trying to not stress out some young players. And that might be one of the reasons it was a little closer, one of the reasons why as we moved down, we didn't complete some drives. So we'll keep, as a coach, you gain confidence as you play. You gain confidence in what your players can do. And I think Coach Luttrell and Coach Johnson, Coach Fry will be more assertive as these guys keep playing together, and you truly see what they can and can't do. So I thought the young line held, I thought they held up reasonably well.
And like left tackle, kind of how did Spriggs perform? First game into his college career.
He had a couple busts, but I mean, he was the one lineman that we thought had the best grade. Had 7, 8 knockdowns, and still teaching him how to play hard. Quit thinking. But again, when you're young and day one, I think he's going to be a special player, and I thought it was a very decent start. We'll play better. No disrespect to Indiana State. We'll play more talented fronts, but that was the strength of their team. I think their one player, 92, is going to be an NFL caliber kid where he'll get a crack at it, whether he gets picked late or a free agent guy. And they were touting. He had 22 tackles in one game last year, a boatload of sacks their team had. And so to come out with no sacks and really to come out without the quarterback getting harassed. And a little bit of that, the tempo actually helps pass rush. It's kind of hard to rush the passer when you're not in a good stance. You don't run a good 40 when you're not in a good stance. So sometimes that tempo helps the left tackle.
Important for him to kind of come out against, knowing he had a big test in front of him his first game, just to kind of maybe get that focus or add a little bit of an edge for him?
It was just good to see him play well in the opening game, because again, he's going to play a reasonably stressful position. But again, he played a very good player. He'll play better players. But I told him Friday, I said, one of these days you're going to be in the NFL and you're going to laugh about this first game, because you're going to see some real guys coming off the edge. No disrespect. Because as you play, he's going to have some there's some phenomenal players in this league he's going to match up against, and we'll continue to develop him and grow him. He'll have to match up this year, and we'll have to help him out as we keep going. But he did well. He's got a good look in his eye. He's a very good athlete. Dan Feeney's the same way. Those two guys are as talented as any lineman we have. They're young, but they're physically good players. And they're going to be good players as we move forward.
What makes you think, you just said when you're in the NFL someday, what makes you think that Spriggs has that kind of potential? What about him do you look at and say?
Practice.
What does he have that are NFL characteristics that make him look like that kind of player?
4'7", he's 270 pounds, 10% body fat. He's going to be 310. He's going to be athletic. He's going to be a great player.
Take him to get that big, and what is it going to take for him to be that?
Based on what I saw, he was eating lunch longer than I want. He needs to eat. I'm on a diet. He needs to eat what I eat on my diet.
How'd you come out of the game injury-wise?
Reasonably well. No one glitched up. We got Sliger back going this week, practicing. It'll be interesting as we move where he is, because he's practicing. He's practicing in the fray of things, but we'll be smart. But I think he's close to being. I thought Alex Todd and Darius Rayner, a true freshman, redshirt freshman, came in and really helped us there. I thought this morning we had great work this morning with those guys with Sligs back in. So we got a couple guys that got their suspensions that we had out of the way. So we're better than we were a week ago, and we'll keep moving forward with that.
And played a decent amount of snaps in the first half, didn't get as many in the second half. Was it just a matter of just trying to get him comfortable, get his feet wet?
He hit on his shoulder and acted like he was hurt. So he took a college hit. And at the same time, the game was close. And those other guys are decent players, but again, he's got some. He's he has a good future, so does Jason Spriggs, but we got to be slow. There's a lot of potential for those guys to be quality players for Indiana in time. I just was having a conversation with Nick Stoner, and I shared this before, but Nick plays all last year, and at this time of year, he goes through all the summer and all the preseason, and the first half of the season as a defensive back. And then he plays a few games, but you're not really coaching techniques, you're coaching schemes. Well, then he misses the majority of spring practice running track. He gets some spring practice, but he's really a full-time track guy. So I'm talking to Nick about, like, hey, you're still kind of raw as fast as you are. We don't see your speed yet because you're learning how to think and play fast as a receiver. And that's the same thing with Tevin, Jason Spriggs, same things with the junior college linebackers and the junior college players. We're still young enough that as you play, you go through growing pains. They keep learning how to play faster. And what we saw today was the best practice since I've been here. It was nice to come out and win, but we got after today. We had a physical inside. We were flying around a team. We matched up against each other a little bit because there's similarities in the UMass defensive approach as far as schematically and what we do. There's similarities in UMass's offensive approach. So we actually did a little competitiveness, and there was some great juice for a Tuesday practice. So those are growing pains. And at the same time, though, I mean, a lot of things can happen, and guys say he's going to be a pro player is never going to have that chance because things happen in guys' careers. But there are guys that make a lot of money today that weren't what that left tackle was the first day he walked into college. So that if that left tackle does what he needs to, if that running back does what he needs to, if there's a lot of kids, what we got at this place is guys don't keep doing what they're supposed to do. They get off track. They don't stay hungry. They don't stay driven. They don't stay focused. And the hard deal in this day and age is guys just keep keep bringing it every day, keep coming every day. That's the growing pains of being a good team. The biggest difference still between us being a good team and not is learning how to compete. Today was a very nice competitive Tuesday practice, which we haven't had. We thought last week our Thursday and Friday was as good as we had been. And I think that's when the game got close. Our kids didn't panic. We didn't execute a couple kick plays cleanly and a couple offensive drives, but our defense was sharp down the stretch, and that's just some of the growing pains as we move forward.